Eddington is out in theaters, latest movie from Ari Aster, who made Hereditary, Midsommar, Beau is Afraid. This reunites him with Joaquin Phoenix. The movie also stars Pedro Pascal, Deirdre O'Connell, Emma Stone, and Austin Butler. Apparently, Aster wrote this film many years ago, intended for this to be his first movie, but when he couldn't get it off the ground, he made Hereditary instead and put Eddington on the back burner. Now he comes back to it, updating the script to make the story take place during the COVID pandemic. So, May 2020, Phoenix plays Joe Cross, sheriff of a small Texas town called Eddington, who has a rivalry going with Pedro Pascal's Ted, the current mayor running for re-election. They have different political views, different opinions on things like the pandemic itself. There's even a shadow of some personal conflict in their past. And when Joe decides to run as a counter candidate for the mayor office, things quickly begin to escalate. So this is turning out to be an incredibly divisive film. Some critics love it, some hate it. I have to say I found it an interesting but definitely very flawed movie. Probably my least favorite of all Ari Aster films so far. I think it has some very interesting ideas and social commentary in the first half, but then in the second, starting around the moment a certain important character suddenly dies, without spoiling too much, but really kicking into gear a while after that when again, not to spoil anything, when the outside group arrives in town, it kind of falls off a cliff, becomes unfocused, bloated, and I'm not sure what it was trying to say at that point. It is definitely too long, at 2 hours, 28 minutes, and it is definitely designed to piss off every kind of viewer wherever you are on the political spectrum. It points its finger at things like conspiracy theorists, COVID deniers, right-wing apologists, even crypto bros. It also criticizes performative activism and fake outrage and fake liberals who actually have their hands in the pockets of their rich sponsors. In fact, I think that the two strongest aspects of the movie for me are, number one, showing how everyone has an agenda that colors their actions. It's a very cynical film in that regard. And even if that agenda is as innocent as comparatively innocent as wanting to impress a girl you like, at the end of the day everybody has one. And by the way, this is an excellent subplot where the constantly escalating Black Lives Matters protests in town are actually a direct result of two teenagers trying to one-up each other and win favor in the eyes of the activist girl. And number two, the second thing which is impressive about the film, I find it impressive in the way it shows the kind of gradual slide into insanity and social media propaganda with the character of Joe. We meet him and he is immediately a COVID denier. Okay, that's already a bit of a red flag, but the way he interacts with the guy in town who can't do his shopping, he does his shopping for him, doesn't want the money back. He is shown to have some decency. And then he also goes home. We see his mother-in-law and his wife. They are seeped into these wild Facebook groups, conspiracy theories, insane worldviews. And initially it's kind of obvious that Joe treats them with disdain, that he's not quite at this level. He knows that is bullshit. But then we see him listening to other crazy podcasts himself, and you realize, well, he's being exposed to all of that all of the time. So, with time, it seeps into him as well. He's watching all these memes on social media before he goes to sleep and right after he wakes up. It's a process of slow, gradual radicalization by way of just constant noise of these things, which in the end, of course, has terrible consequences. And again, sadly, this goes on for probably an hour and a half and then suddenly veers too far into the absurd, sort of escalated territory for my liking, where I'm not sure what the point of the final act was supposed to be. I guess sort of making an observation that the corporate overlords always win in the end, but I'm not quite sure it's done very well. I think the film takes an interesting story that it already established and kind of throws it out the window for the sake of sudden action. Also, I think Emma Stone and Austin Butler are both pretty much wasted. They're two fantastic actors in really tiny roles that don't really allow them to do much. I liked Phoenix and Pascal though, both do a good job. And Deirdre O'Connell continues to impress after her amazing turn in The Penguin. So overall, strong start, strong themes, good execution for about half of it, and then it becomes insufferably unrestrained and goes on for way too long. Is Ari Aster's head getting too big? Because being unrestrained was also a bit of a problem in Beau is Afraid. I don't know, perhaps, but I hope he manages to get back on track and get back to the higher quality of his earlier movies.